Welcome everyone to Money and Meaning, Kinder Institute of Life Planning's blog, where we tell the stories of registered life planners from around the globe. I'm Laura Woodward, Communications Director for Kinder Institute, and this is our I'm a Registered Life Planner series. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Adrian Murphy, CEO of Murphy Wealth, based in Glasgow, Scotland. Welcome, Adrian.
Thanks, Laura. It's great to be here.
Yeah, well, let's just start from the beginning. Let's hear a bit of your backstory of how you got into financial services.
Yeah, so my father had a small insurance and financial services business for a long time, and I kind of flirted with, when I was young, we kind of go into the office and help out and all that kind of thing, do the mail. We would joke about joining the business, but I fancied doing marketing at first when I went to university. I didn't really enjoy it, and there was another university that I could transfer to that did a degree in investment and risk, and we kind of talked about it a bit. And I've got 6 siblings, and none of whom were interested in doing this. So I don't know who the smart one is. We'll figure that out at some point. But so I thought, right, why not? Then I'll go into industry, become kind of useful, and then gradually find my way to the family business. As it happened, I graduated just after 9/11, and things were a wee bit tougher, and I just wanted to get to work, and I was struggling to get a grad post. And my dad said to me, look, there's basically an administration role, because somebody left, I think, the firm in insurance, not in financial services. Basically, look, come in, start at the bottom, work your way up, learn the business, get to know the clients, etc., etc. It was quite difficult. In the UK, financial services back then was a very different animal to what it is today. It was kind of back then we still had commission and all sorts of weird and wonderful things, and we had some advisors and whatnot in the business. And I just kind of went about, right, we were having the big regulatory change that was coming, was RDR in 2012, and we knew about that for years, banning commission and changing the whole kind of structure of the thing. So went about changing that. Nobody in the business liked it, but that was fine. That's what happens, isn't it? So people move on, and we kind of separated the businesses. My dad sold off the insurance business so we could focus on financial planning. So that was that. 2014, we moved. We were in a small kind of seaside town of Ayr on the west coast of Scotland, and like a lot of towns like it in the UK, these kind of struggling. You could see it coming. I'm thinking, well, can I build a business here? Can I build a career here? Talent pool, clients, demographics, all these things. So I said, look, why don't I open a small office in Glasgow? I'll start working in there, being the main city on the west. And we moved it in 2014, lock, stock and barrel. The whole team changed again because they didn't like it. That's fine. They didn't want to travel, and I get that. You're working, close to home for a reason, and that was quite tough. But that was that, and we kind of started. I was able to start building the business that I wanted. From there, we started. I'd been doing some guest lectures at university that I went to at that point, because I would kind of thought that would be quite a good way to develop our people if we could access those coming out of that degree at that time. So that's what we did, and now we have a hugely successful graduate program. I think every person through there in the team has come through our grad program, and we've got law grads, we've got economics and business, we've got all sorts of people, and it's about, right, do you have the academic ability? We can obviously evidence that. So attitude and behaviours, are you the right fit for Murphy Wealth? That's ultimately what it's about. We've had real challenges recruiting from within the industry. Particularly in the UK, I'm sure you'll hear that a lot. So growing our own was something I wanted to do, and that's one of the things I'm proudest of is that we've done that. So then we've we expanded. We've got this lovely office here now. The business is thriving. We won Advisor of the Year last year at Money Marketing Awards. We've won umpteen awards over the last couple of years or so. We've kind of pioneered, a bit of, obviously life planning and bringing behavioural science into financial planning. And yeah, we've done a lot over the last few years. But a big driver for that change, I guess, over the last 3 years, this pre-pandemics, was attending the 2-day Kinder course. It made me completely rethink what we were doing.
Yeah.
At a time where we were not here.
Yeah.
Sitting at home going, right, we did an okay business, we had a good business, we'd worked hard at it, but it wasn't the business yet that I wanted it to be. It will never be the business I wanted it to be because I'm quite ambitious, but that was the foundation for and the catalyst for real change. And we kind of said, right, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to come out of this, whatever this is, better, stronger. We're going to have better relationships with our clients. And yeah, just went from there and attended the first ever online Evoke.
So I'm curious then, what initially drew you to our training program? Because you mentioned that you took the 2-day course in February 2021. It was right before lockdown started. And then you took your Evoke training in, I believe, April. And so that's after lockdown. So you got both experiences, in person, online, but something drew you to Kinder Institute's programming. What was that?
There was something, I wasn't loving financial planning at the time. And we work with entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, etc. And I was just like, there's got to be something. I've always thought this. I mean, I go back to, we talked about when I first joined the business. I was like, there has to be more to this. We have to, we could be better. We could deepen these relationships. We could, but didn't have the knowledge, the language, the whatever. So I was looking for something. I didn't know what it was. And I knew about the Kinder Institute from a long, long time ago. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. Because I knew some of the folk who had done it, Justin and other people. And I thought, yeah, maybe there's something to this. And that was that. So, came down to London, spent 2 days with Louis and Justin and my wee group. And it was absolutely, life-changing. It really was. It just completely, I kind of thought, yeah, this is what I've been looking for all this time that I didn't know that I was looking for, because you're kind of, as I said, I wasn't loving financial planning. I wasn't getting what I wanted out of it. And I thought that, and I thought it's just more that we could be doing for our clients, particularly just because of who we work with. It's, it's complex and they're complex and everybody is, I know that, but I thought I've got to be able to get behind that and help them more and help them with decision making and all this kind of thing, help them get really clear on what it is they're trying to do. So that was it. That was the beginning. Yeah,
that's awesome. And so how did you go about integrating it into your business?
So I came back as the only life planner in the business, and I thought, right, how do we do this? We actually put a couple of other people through the 2-day and through Evoke, but again, it's a big change for the business to take that approach wholesale. And I would say that it has absolutely changed our approach at a high level. Do we follow the Evoke process to the letter for every single client, every single time, with every single plan in the business? No, we still don't, not yet. We are still working through that. And I think what it has led to is a cultural change. So how we approach meetings, some of the questions that we answer and the approach that we take with clients or this human first approach that we ended up coining, like probably over a glass of wine or something like that. But and some of the other learning that was ongoing as well, in the same space, has led to a completely different approach to financial planning for everybody in the business, whilst not everybody is doing it perhaps how I would do it. I continue my learning with the Kinder Institute, and then what the way that I plan on doing it, for now at least, is I'm cascading that learning down to the business. So I run kind of coaching sessions, if you like, with the team, with the planning teams, and talking through, right, here's the different ways that you might look to approach this. Here's some of the things that I have learned. How can you integrate that into your financial planning meetings? I think it is challenging, no question. But as a firm, we embrace absolutely everything that the Kinder Institute's about.
Yeah, because it's really great, because not only did you get your registered life planner designation, but it must have meant so much to you that you actually sent some of your colleagues through the training program, and I know a few of them have been through it. So that's really meaningful, because then you don't have to carry the whole burden, especially for like a larger firm. Yeah,
it is, and I will do more. Because at the end of the day, I believe in it. We know we've seen the results, and I think, become more experienced, you adapt it, don't you? Don't necessarily follow it exactly to the letter, that's okay. But the spirit of it and the intention, and just, as I said before, the sessions I've done with Louis, Mastery, etc. There's just so much more to it, even than, you go through the 2 days, you go through a vote, think, oh great, right, registered life planner. That's just the start for me, and that's the way I kind of see it. And then if I can get, everybody going through that at different stages and levels, then we're going to be in a really good place. But I continue to cascade that learning down through the business, and I have to lead by example. That's it.
Yeah. And part of leading by example is living your life plan, because one of the benefits of going through our training program is that you also get life planned. And so what has been the results of you living your life plan?
Wow. Yeah, that's that. I mean, I think there's two things. One, I'd never, when I went through that, and some of what came out of that was quite surprising. Some of it, you kind of probably at the back of your mind had thought about, but a lot of it was quite surprising, and what was important to me, and okay, so how are you going to get there, what you do, etc. All of that. And actually my life has changed completely since then. We, being a business owner, one of the certainly to my mind, the business is the vehicle, to allow a lot of this stuff to happen, of course. So, right, okay, how are we going to get to there? So, and unfortunately, we made those big changes, that this was part of that. And then, I kind of wasn't that happy with probably where I was personally in terms of my, just how I was feeling. And I ended up, kind of having a good look at it as a result of going through the process, and started taking my health more seriously, and doing a lot of meditation and mindfulness. And then I became the chair of this charity because my brother was diagnosed with motor neuron disease, and I then thought, well, I'm getting healthier now. Why don't I do something, along those lines, and try and raise some money? And it ended up turning into a huge big thing, and now doing Ironman and all this kind of thing, which is just, I mean, I'm almost certain that I said within the last couple of years that I would never do something like that. Yeah. But it's not even that was part of my life plan, because as you know, everything changes, right? We do a life plan and establish what's important, but then as long as that leads to some change, then it doesn't have to be exactly what you said in the room or on the day. and that's kind of how that that happened. There was change happening as a result of that, and it's led to I'm just a completely different person probably now, and not only that, the business is in such a good place that it afforded me the time to be able to commit to something like that, because that's a kind of 8-month training program prior to even doing this stuff. And now for me, that's changed completely, because I'm now that this is something I'm going to continue to do. But getting that kind of real clarity and some vision, some excitement around where we're going, rather than being stuck in this for me anyway, we felt like we were stuck in a bit of a rut, for a while. So you can start to dream a bit again and kind of create that new reality. So I haven't actually. I'm really, as I kind of get back into full-time work, because I've been rather preoccupied. Got another session, mastery session. I haven't spoken to Justin for a while, and Louis, so I'm going to pick that up, because I'm quite keen to kind of work through some of that stuff myself. Again, because your life, as you say, your life plan changes, doesn't it?
It does, and that's what's so important. And you're doing a great job describing the dynamic nature of life plans. And we take people through these life planning sessions, but it's not static. That's the value, is that you're creating this relationship with a client that's so deep, because it's all about what they want. So do you have a client success story that you'd be willing to share?
Oh, gosh. There's been so many. I mean, I was with one just yesterday, and relatively, I've known him for a while, the husband, but I've never met his wife, and we've always had a kind of business relationship, not a financial planner client relationship, and they're not necessarily the most open people. So I was kind of doing some revision ahead of the meeting, just to try and really get my head in the right space before we met. And I'd taken a few wee notes, and I'd written down pause, shut up, stuff like that, just as prompts for myself, just sitting there next to me. And I just started with tell me what's important to you, because I've never met her before. So thinking about how we work with couples, and I kind of acknowledged them both, thanked them both for coming in and all that. But I very much wanted to get to know her, and very quickly you could see the dynamic, and in essence, that his business, which he will want to exit in some shape or form, he's kind of probably done already. She's waiting for that, because her thing was, well, I left work and I brought the boys up, and now I'm kind of doing stuff. I'm in a holding pattern, in essence. That's what she was saying. And so we just gave them a bit of space, and it came out, they did it rather than I did it. This wonderful trip they'd just been on, which was a driving holiday in Europe, and the descriptions and the detail about the wee cafes, and how nice it was, and how relaxed everybody was, and how beautiful the country was. It was like it was being, it was alpine, and it was all this stuff. And the two of them, they came to life, and then you could see, when we started talking about then how do we deliver more of that, the energy kind of being sucked right out, because this business, and he's done with it. So what we got him to the point where he was in essence admitting that, like, he wanted to talk about, well, the plan for the business is this and the business is that, it's 3 to 5 years. I said, yes, but what do you want? Not that I get that, yes, and there's a business plan, right, fine, but that's not you, that's the business. So what do you want? I said, what would be the ideal? Well, tomorrow. So I mean, that was like, oh my goodness, because this is a big thing. This is his thing is built up, and you can kind of see that that's the real anchor there. You know, it's really kind of dragging him down. His wife's waiting on it. They know the life that is waiting for them as well. That's the thing. So having kind of had that realization, they were a way to kind of really kind of have a good think about that. And what we're going to try and do is get into a place where it may be it's again, it's not one or the other. It's something in the middle while he figures out how to, if we can agree that, and that sticks, that actually, yes, I want out. Yeah. Then all of the other conversations he had, which was just kind of noise around that, ceased to be important. So it would be a singular focus.
Yeah.
You know, rather than this, well, it could be 5 to 10 years, it could be 3 to, no. If I've made that decision, well, or if you've made that decision, you're going to make it happen now.
Yeah. And
you can go and do more of that wonderful stuff that you talked about, or move there, or do whatever, because it's all possible. So that was just yesterday. You know, that was brilliant, because I was kind of apprehensive about it, just in terms of how much they would share. And yeah, it was just amazing. So there's so much more, you know, as you know, you want to go deeper with them, and that's next. You know, she's opened up a bit. I'd like to get into that in a bit more detail with her, and find out more about her and what really makes her tick, and try and, again, if we can bring that to life, right, then that will make it happen. As you know, yeah, really create that energy. So that's exciting. I loved that. It was brilliant.
Yeah, because a fulfilled life doesn't need to wait. Like, you do not need to wait for it. You can make it happen right now. Yeah. And to help somebody realize that they have that control, they have that ability to make happen. That's really what I think life planners are able to do. They can say, yeah, let's understand your life, but then let's look at the financials. Nope, the financials aren't a worry. Let's make sure you can live this right now.
That's the thing. We've got a good idea of their position. We'll get a much better idea. They're going to go away and detail it all for us. But, you know, so why, you know, what's stopping you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You know, and if we can get them there, that'll be an amazing you know, we kind of case study for us to show, you know, it does demonstrate the power of it. And there's lots of examples along the way. You know, the client in today who is, you know, has been through this process, and he was talking about how they sold their business in, his brother, and they ended up working, and he ended up becoming the CEO of the big business that bought them, and all this stuff, and the stress. And they used to, when they first sold, they held on to all this money, all this cash, right? They wouldn't do anything with it. I mean, they bought cars, that was it, right? And they just didn't know, the fear of loss, right, was so intense, and it was for years. Yeah. And over the, you know, we've built a relationship, we've been through the life planning process, we've created a bit of energy. As it turns out, he's, you know, left that job, and we went through the plan again there, and he was articulating how that makes him feel, how different he's now. We've got everything that he owns, we look after now, and we were able to show, here's the, you know, we use the modeling software and all that stuff, but it was more about the feeling of security, and that it will look, you know, what, there's a few things you've never kind of expressed any desire around, you know, what comes next, because it was always stuck in this, you know, working. He's now not working, a couple of interests. Do you know what, we were talking actually, and, you know, the weather here's a bit, you know, and it'd be nice to maybe in the south of England or further afield, and we could, you know, just as we get older, go and you know, hang with the old folks, as it were. And you know, we said, well, why not? You know, what's stopping you? And we're able to demonstrate it. And he's going, God, I had no idea. I was going around switching off all the plugs in the house to save money. And we said, well, that none of that, within reason is an issue. You're so let's explore more with your wife, because it was just him, what do you want? What do you want out of this? What would make you feel, as you said, what would be a fulfilled life for you? And he's just the happiest man in the world,
Wow.
It's just great.
Yeah.
What a great job.
Yeah, exactly. What a great job. Yeah, absolutely. I think life planning makes financial planning, it's just done right, but it just makes the job easier. It makes it more fun to go to work. Like, how great.
I think that's a really important point, actually, that's if I go back to my kind of my own sense of or lack of fulfillment with the job, compared to how I feel about it now, it doesn't compare. It's a different job. It's brilliant, and actually the conversations that we have and how they're led is so different to the financial conversation. Yes, it's always there. Of course it is, because it's in the job title, for goodness sake. But the conversations we have are completely different to what we would have had 3 years ago, for example. And I suspect different to a lot of what other conversations what other people are having. We find, so when people come to us and we have those conversations, God, that's not what I was expecting. That's actually quite painless, or even enjoyable, rather than being a bit of a drag. Oh God, I've got to go and see that guy again. That kind of thing. So it really does. And I think this, for me, having a wee break actually and coming back to it and refreshing everything is again giving me a wee burst of energy. And yeah, absolutely. I really want to. It's just the way I am. But I want to continue my learning and just soak up as much as I can and get as good at this as I can again, so that I can share it and also that I can impact on the people we meet.
Yeah, that's great. So what would be one piece of advice that you would give to someone just starting out on their journey?
Yeah, be patient, because I go back to doing the case study, for example, was part of Evoke, and then trying to do it, trying to implement this as a day-to-day practice. It's not easy, it takes time. You have to keep going back to it. I've still got in my office in the house, I've still got all my original workbooks on my desk. Like, I go back to all the time. I've got notes here that I printed off from my various mastery sessions. That's what I was going over the other day there. You can't A, practice enough, and B, learn enough. And eventually, you get confident and you're able to, freestyle a wee bit with it, and, sticking to the principles, of course. But and you find it comes into everyday conversation, and that's quite interesting. We're talking to other people, and I think am I a better listener, and do I have more empathy? And yeah, absolutely. Being a salesman at heart, you're talking away to people, but you're already thinking about what you're going to say, and all the things that I'm sure lots of people listening have done or do. And actually, just being more kind of present and really listening to people, that was one of the big things that I've tried to instill in the team, is those very basic principles. And so yes, it's probably made me better as a person. But you have to be patient. You have to do the learning. You have to keep going back to it. You have to keep practicing. And like I say, eventually it starts to become just part of you.
Yeah, beautifully stated. Couldn't agree more. Well, Adrian, this was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today. This was just a blast to hear from you.
Thank you. No, that's brilliant. Really enjoyed that.
All right, great.